Hey guys, this is Illusion PODFIC, and today we're going to be reading Speedrun 80% No Dignity Route by Lemon Light Madness. This is Chapter 4. As Gotham's foremost expert in blowing up meth labs, Jason knew better than to let an operation drag on, especially when in enemy territory. The longer you're exposed away from home territory, the more likely you're going to get fucked over in a spectacular fashion. And typically, one would think that one such as Hood, a very well-connected anti-hero with possible familial ties to the Justice League, would not consider the Watchtower of all places to be enemy territory. Well, one would also think that parents are supposed to love and support their children, but of course that's going so well for him right now, isn't it? His second mistake was letting Bruce drag this on, but, of course, his first mistake was trusting Bruce in the first place. He should have known better, but evidently not. Actually, scratch that. His first mistake is currently seesawing at terminal velocity between burning down that stupid warehouse and getting caught by the JL in the first place. Sure, earlier, there was no need to be crying over spilt blood, tears, 5 hours of wasted lifespan, and the systematic dismantling of his precious reputation. Because earlier it was just the Flash, a Green Lantern, and Green Arrow. Jason has watched multiple hours worth of fail compilations starring Barry running into poles. Oliver runs around in a green Robin Hood costume, which is nearly as cringe as Batman's entire Bat theme, and Jason refuses to take Hal seriously on principle alone. Superman is dead to him, and soon Bruce will be too. Once there are less witnesses, the others don't matter in the long run. But Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman? The shining paragon of the Justice League, leader and the only member of the so-called Trinity that isn't an absolute loser or a bona fide traitor? And this is her first meeting with Jason as Red Hood. There are first impressions to be made, and it's all about to be ruined by the existence of his stupid fucking dad. Some emotional support violence would be great right now, but he can't, because Wonder Woman, who is behind him, will kick his butt into the next solar system if he dares lay a hand on a supposed civilian. And Jason would rather punt himself off of a cliff than make a bad first impression. He turns away from the exit, away from the Zeta Tube, to face his doom. She's gorgeous. Her hair is lustrous in a way you only see in adverts on TV. Every ebony tendril flowing into perfect curls down her back. Her outfit is immaculate, if you can ignore that various bits of alien viscera adorning the gold of her bodice. An autograph? She muses, the corner of her mouth gently quirked up, framed by perfect lips and perfect skin. Jason ignores the fact that it's directed at Bruce and is in response to one of the most embarrassing questions that's ever been asked on his behalf. Anything for a fan. Jason isn't just her fan. He's a whole air conditioner, and has been for about a decade at this point. Why? Well, she has a big fuck-off sword hoisted over her shoulder in addition to her golden whip, skin glistening with sweat, greaves and exposed skin splattered with undescribable liquids. She's so cool! Jason could explode with excitement. This is Wonder Woman, freshly returned from beating the ever-loving shite out of some villains. As if she wasn't already perfect. What do you say to a signature, chum? The irritating drone of Bruce's voice jerks Jason out of his fanboy haze fast enough to give himself a mental whiplash. Kill yourself, he hisses at the man vehemently, who grins foolishly and holds his hands up in mock surrender. Now, Wonder Woman huffs a laugh. If Jason could make this sound into an MP3 and add it to his Spotify playlist, he could listen to it for a decade on repeat and not get tired of it. That's a little harsh there. Of course, ma'am. Jason agrees instantly. He's not even ashamed to admit that he folds like a wet paper towel. He has all the time in the world to get revenge on Bruce later. Patricide can wait, if she insists. Wonder Woman smiles at him, and it feels like time slows. Is this how children feel at fan conventions? Is this what it's like to meet your favorite celebrity? At first, he considers it, and then throws that thought away into a mental garbage can. No, none can compare. Celebrities don't have extensive combat experience, stalwart morals, and the self-sacrificial nature necessary to do hero work for a living. There are levels to awesomeness, and Wonder Woman has them all topped. Yeah, he has some issues. Just a couple. I made a list. Bruce unhelpfully adds from the side, ruining both Jason's moment and mood in one fell swoop. Jason, once again engaging in meditative breathing exercises, slowly turns to Bruce. He is calm. No negative emotions at all here. Jason eats calmness for breakfast. You, he says, barely holding back the building apocalyptic rage of a fanboy scorn from his voice. Shut. Fortunately, Wonder Woman takes no notice of Bruce or that interaction, as she should. I just had to come back to meet you, she tells him, and Jason nearly ascends from sheer joy. Both Cal and your father were very convincing, especially on such short notice. All Jason can do in response is to make a strangled noise in the back of his throat that sounds suspicious like, oh my god, it's Wonder Woman. No, she laughs, and Jason swears that there's actually a halo above her head, and totally not an illusion based on the Watchtower's clinical lighting and his own residual para-kidnapped concussion. I've heard all about your little escapades. Call me Diana. I insist. His inner fanboy is close to death from joy-based asphyxiation. Maybe being held hostage by the jail isn't so bad. If things like this can happen. Of course, Jason's had such a run of poor luck over his life. It was about time he started shitting gold or something along those lines. It was only fitting that such a humiliating event could be rectified with the presence of his idol. What are the chances? And then he puts the jigsaw pieces together and Jason's blood goes cold. What are the chances indeed? Sorry, he interrupts with a semi-fake grin plastered on under the helmet. My father convinced you? Alongside Superman? Just being the league's main backer financially wouldn't be enough to have one of the Trinity on beck and call for something as pithy as an autograph, or a mere bail request for one of Batman's vagrant rogues. Yet here Wonder Woman is, fresh from some intergalactic battlefield, still splattered with various pieces of gore and muck, here at the combined request of Superman and Brucie Wayne. It doesn't add up. Brucie shouldn't have that amount of power here. But Brucie does. And there's only one way for that to happen. In the fabled jail Trinity, there's Superman, one of the few who knows Bruce's secret identity. And Wonder Woman, who Jason is now realizing, more likely than not, also knows. And if she isn't on the bit, and is close to Bruce as Clark is, then... So... Jason's voice modulator masked the involuntary stutter. Which escapades are you talking about exactly? I just want to check we're all on the same page. You know how it is. The incident, Wonder Woman's gentle smile, is now distinctly wolf-like, and Jason is reminded he is not only faced with the paragon of the Justice League, but the legendary warrior princess of Themyscira. And I'm sure you clearly remember the escapades I'm referring to. I, too, visited Gotham in the wake of the warehouse incident 3 weeks ago. Oh God, no. The sheer utter horror Jason feels is being dwarfed by a level of abject misery equating to the kind typically found in Russian literature. There is no good first impression to be made. There is no good anything at all. Jason sucks in a breath through his nose. The Joker? Who? Jason is going to kill himself, come back to life out of spite again, have another 2-year training montage to become a crime lord for the second time. A crime lord solely dedicated to ruining Bruce's life, but better. Bruce, the fucking traitor, fake guffaws loudly, slapping a hand on Jason's armored shoulder. Like this. He is just close enough to hear Jason's muttered, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, on repeat under his breath. He ignores it, just like he's currently ignoring the state of Jason's mental health. Yeah, chum, she really helped out the kiddo after he got dumped on our doorstep. Under the influence. Yes, Wonder Woman nods along seriously. It was incredibly irresponsible of you, for that to happen to your brother under your watch. This is the worst day of his life. Full stop. Hey, Green Lantern says from the sidelines, because he's still here for some reason. What's the warehouse incident I'm hearing about? Jason got Damien high, Bruce and Clark say in unison. It was not an enjoyable experience for anyone involved, Diana adds. She turns to Bruce, arms crossed. You should consider limiting his access to sharp objects. A pause. And kryptonite. From under Bruce's airy countenance, A sliver of Bruce's real exasperation shows through. You think I haven't tried? Why do you think I called the 2 people I know who are basically immune to being impaled? Clark raises his hand. I'm not immune to kryptonite. Diana snorts. We are aware, Cal. Bruce nods along. It's basically a personality trait at this point. Hey! From the sidelines, Green Lantern, the Flash, Green Arrow, and the small crowd of other heroes they picked up with the noise they've been making are watching this casual exchange. There's a furrow in the Lantern's brow from where he stands beside Green Arrow, who's now staring daggers into the side of Bruce's head. But it's the Flash who voices the question they're all wondering. Since when are y'all buddies? He asked, confused, motioning between the 3 of them. Here, Bruce looks to Cal, who looks to Diana, who looks back to Bruce meaningfully, a sculpted eyebrow raised. Clark glances between the 2 of them subtly, clenching and unclenching his hands in a rare show of nerves from the Man of Steel. Bruce, to his credit, tilts his head imperceptibly to the side, but the look in his eyes is playful in a way that is distinctly not Brucie-like, to say the least. A silent agreement passes between them, a confirmation of sorts. With that, the Justice League's Trinity, 2 in full battle regalia and the last in civilian getup, fall into step like second nature, as if their fellow leader, who was also dressed in dark Kevlar hybrid, an excessive body armor and not a poorly fitted but expensive suit. Brucie Wayne's happy-go-lucky nature and distinctly unserious manner are legendary in both the circles he frequents and the ones he doesn't. As Gotham's unofficial billionaire mascot, seeing him standing in line with Superman and Wonder Woman should feel slightly off, like watching a couple of lions humor a particularly boisterous kitten. It should feel off. It really should. But despite having 2 of the most prominent members of the Justice League flanking each shoulder, somehow he doesn't look out of place. As Jason watches, he sees Batman come to the surface, the mask of Brucie falling away. It's something in his posture, the set of his shoulders and jaw, the harder glint in his eyes. It's the stance, the way the weight is distributed. One moment, Bruce is a thoughtless himbo with more money than common sense and an IQ lower than the temperature of Tim's energy drink mini-fridge. And the next, no one could look at this man and think, harmless civilian. Holy fuck, Jason thinks blankly. I think it's actually happening. Clark and Diana are still flanking him on either side, but no one misses how their eyes are fixed on his face. Bodies angled inward towards him. Some might misunderstand this, that this is a kind of confrontation with unforeseen consequences. Alas, no. It just so happens that the legendary heroes, Superman and Wonder Woman, are also drama hogs, and they aren't missing this for the world. Holy fuck, Jason thinks, slightly less blankly, hysteria rapidly rising before, holy fuck, it's actually happening? Before my eyes? Jason is now looking between the 3 rapidly, biting back disbelieving noises, fully aware that to the unaware masses his current actions might resemble that of a seizure. Because, hot damn, is this the identity reveal? The Bat identity reveal? He might make some kind of strangled noise, one that he's actually sure makes it through the vocoder in his helmet and out of the speaker, as opposed to all the other, quieter strangled-sounding noises he's sure he's making right now, because suddenly most of the room is looking at him. Gah, he says intelligently, before pulling a full 180 and scraping together enough brainpower to faintly exclaim, You really? Now? It's all he can really say, given that the rest of his brain has dedicated all of its processing power to internally screaming longer, louder, and even more high-pitched. Yep, I think so, Clark says, turning to the other 2 members of the Trinity. His eyes soften. No, so. Diana just nods. It has indeed been long enough. She gently slaps Bruce on the shoulder in support, whose face looks to be struck in a new and interesting expression Jason notes to be halfway between his dealing with idiots back glare and his about to have an emotional confrontation back glare. We have been buddies, as you call it, for years now. There's silence. No one reacts, so Bruce clarifies for them, just in case anyone missed the incredibly obvious clues he's been sprinkling over the entire visit, like Parmesan over room temperature spaghetti. I'm Batman. Silence. Someone shuffles, and it feels like that metaphorical pin drop. Then someone quietly mutters, bullshit. Sure, they don't say it loudly, but in the silence of the room, they don't need to, because everyone hears it anyway. Someone begins to snicker, And with that, the gate breaks. Although people try to stifle their giggles, the collective effort only creates a cacophony of muffled snickers and outright laughter. "I am serious," Bruce says flatly from the front. "I am Batman." "Yeah, right," someone else calls from the crowd. "And I'm Robin." And that sets off a whole new round of gasping laughter. Bruce just stands there for a second, staring into the crowd of people he just bared his soul to, only to be told, "Yeah, right." It's objectively hilarious. Jason would laugh himself to asphyxiation a second time in literally any other situation. But he's still in the process of dying due to having Wonder Woman being minorly disappointed in him. He'll be fine in a few years. Maybe. "I'm calling an emergency Trinity meeting," Bruce says blankly to the room, which entirely ignores him, before turning his back on the gathered congregation of heroes and one crime lord to face Clark and Diana, both of whose faces are more than a little baffled. "Yes," Clark says, also dumbfounded. "Trinity meeting. Good idea." He also turns into the little huddle of the three of them, because they haven't bothered changing locations, rooms, or positions. Everyone can hear them without much effort. "I thought that would go much more smoothly than it did," Diana hisses at them. "I think we all did," Clark hisses back. "I admit I overestimated their intelligence." "Oh ho ho," Bruce admitting he was wrong, and about our teammates, no less. "Well, look at the positives. At least they don't just believe anyone who walks up to them and says, 'I'm Batman,' in a growly voice. That's promising, isn't it?" "Cal, the bar is so incredibly low. It's basically on the floor." "Yes, because people often bring shovels, don't they?" Diana gently pats him on the back, commiserating. "So, B, what contingencies do you have for this situation?" "Alright, so back to the drawing board." Diana turns to Clark. "Looks like it's up to us now. Any ideas?" "You should do the thing," Clark hastily suggests, making a motion with his two pointer fingers by his head, holding them to mimic the ears on Bruce's cowl. "There's no way they'll mistake that." Diana lights up. "Yes, Bruce, you should do the thing." She makes a similar motion, accompanied by a mock bat glare. When Bruce gives them a real bat glare, she hastily adds a semi-sarcastic, "Please." "That's useless. What idiot would believe me based on that?" "Give it a go. What do you have to lose?" "My pride, my dignity, my image. Pick one." Jason just watches three of them off in their own world, and wonders if someone can send him back to Earth before he forcibly takes his chances with the freezing vacuum of outer space. Eventually, Bruce relents. "Fine," he mutters before letting out a massive sigh. He turns back to the crowd gathered, raises his head, makes eye contact with the other heroes in the room. His eye twitches. "I am vengeance," Bruce growls, "and the night, etc., etc." He turns back to the other two, who is fighting back giggles, and the other one who is looking down at him with a wide smirk. "Is that good enough for you two? And it didn't work either way, so now we have to move to the next—" "Oh my god! Batman?" Bruce's head whips around at a speed that would most likely give him a neck sprain. "You've got to be fucking kidding me." His sentence is immediately lost in the uproar that consumes the room. To his credit, Green Arrow had figured something was off from the moment Bruce had guessed his identity using nothing more than his mustache and basic facial recognition, an incredible feat of deductive reasoning that few people on Earth had ever performed. Truly a revolutionary use of the brain. "You have no right to judge me for poor costuming decisions, not with facial hair like that," Bruce is telling Ollie with all the brutal tact of Batman. "At least I can take mine off." "My mustache is gorgeous," Ollie says. "Take it back or I'll tell them what we did in boarding school." Jason doesn't care that Barry and Hal are having a collective mental breakdown before his eyes. "Oh god, we literally played Fuck, Marry, Kill starring you, and you said nothing? Come on, man, what the hell?" Martian Manhunter is somehow managing to look both impassive and smug at the same time, an impressive combination. Clark and Diana are busy fending off the masses and the accompanying apologies or justifications for choosing the fuck, marry, or kill option at the last game night. The question about either the Brucie persona or fashion choices of Batman. The Watchtower is in chaos. Jason doesn't care. His dignity is probably still in a morgue somewhere. Sure, he just witnessed Batman reveal his identity to the Justice League, Yes, it was historical and long-awaited, and lots of other dramatic-sounding adjectives. Of course, it had to happen right now. Of course, Bruce decided that this was the perfect backdrop to do his grand reveal. Now, whenever anyone needs context as to why Brucie was on the Watchtower in the first place, or why the reveal happened, I'm just going to start with, well, the Red Hood set the wrong warehouse on fire. It makes everything infinitely, diabolically worse. But not only was it the most humiliating memory of his entire life, but afterward he immediately got upstaged by his asshole dad, and taking away literally any fun Jason could have possibly gotten out of the retelling. Bruce had also made sure that this event has been effectively burned into the memories of literally everybody present, whether they want to or not, which truly is the best revenge of all. The fact that the attention has been drawn away from Jason is nothing but a band-aid over the stab wound this whole event has been. As of now, there is nothing left for Jason to do but accept his loss with grace and humility. "Hey Diana," Jason calls, still dying inside. "Can I still get that autograph?" Jason stumbles through the Zeta with the fresh autograph clutched in his hand, proof of the only small victory he has permitted through his entire septic tank of an experience. Stepping into the Batcave, his plan to disappear into the Sahara Desert only to show up 5 years later with a beard to stop short by a small crowd waiting for him. On the Bat computer monitor, Watchtower cameras are proudly being displayed. Popcorn and other miscellaneous snacks are scattered across the tabletop. Beside the monitor, Tim snickers at him, Damien at his shoulder. To the other side, Steph and Cash are in an armchair, packets of chips and chocolate splayed across their laps, and in the center, "Well, well, well," Dick says, reclining in the Bat computer chair, hands steepled. "The prodigal son returns." Jason's therapist constantly says that the pain will pass and time will heal all wounds. Well, this pain is passing like a fucking kidney stone. Alright guys, and that is the end of chapter 4 of Speedrun at 80% No Dignity Right by Lemon Lime Madness. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.